to be fair. And good evening, everyone. That is Mr. Brian Horton on top of me. I am Mr. Brad Chester, and I am wearing a Phantom Menace opening shirt from when it first came out because I am an old man and things go down. We had a good weekend of, again, the meta being super crazy diverse and sisters doing sister stuff.
Super inconsistent and super inconsistent.
Yeah. I mean, what is happening with the top and the bottom, man? Like, I mean, obviously we got a couple things like Death Watch, which are consistently putting in the effort to be bad, apparently. But like, at the top is roll the dice. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I mean, this week Necrons just crushed all over the place. Ton of tournament wins, ton of top finishes. Guard, several tournament wins, tons of top finishes. Where last week, neither of those two things were happening.
Yeah. I mean, we had stuff. Thousand Suns again being devastating. I mean, 58% win percentage. It puts him at 52 for the last 12 weeks. And again, that's another army that's just so damaging in the right hands. Crazy.
Well, it's like if you look at what Meta Monday was talking about, actually one of the things that I will give Meta Monday a ton of credit for, besides breaking down all these stats weekly, join his Patreon, throw a couple dollars his way. Absolutely fantastic the amount of work he puts in on this. He was talking about the number of AdMech players versus the number of Tyranid players and the difference in win rates and the percentages of what it is. Based upon the numbers in the last 12 weeks, it was like 1.2% of the players were AdMech. Where, they just are continuously doing bad, but they do just as well on a win rate versus mids that have 4 times that amount of players.
AdMech has Mojo, man. It's just the problem is again, it costs $1 million to field the goddamn army. So making any change.
Let's talk about the cost $1 million to field that army. So you need what? 12 boxes of their troops, right?
You need somewhere between 40 and 60 Vanguard. Plus you need some Rangers, possibly. And then everything that you want from there is just super bonkers expensive.
Right, because every one of their 5-man units is $60.
Yep.
Right? And then at US retail, it's
and then you're looking at Sulfur Hounds, Cerberus Raiders. Do you want Breachers? Breachers are amazing and overcosted in money and in points on the board.
Yeah, because it's $80 for 3 of them.
Man, chickens are bonkersville.
Yep, $60 for an individual, or I actually think it's $70 for an individual.
It's just that army cost is nuts. To be honest with you, we're going to be seeing a lot of. I think you're going to be seeing a lot of 3D printer go burr.
I agree, especially that combined with the fact that a lot of the GW direct only stuff, such as Satans and things along that, are just hard to come by because they're out of stock of them consistently. I have heard this from multiple customers, multiple people I go to events with or talk with, where they're like, yeah, I would love to buy, X, but they've been out. Like Land Raider will be my perfect example. I'd love to buy a Land Raider. They've been out of stock for 6 months.
I mean, yes, I don't even understand that, but I'm not even going to get into my GW rant like I usually do with that. But I just don't understand how they're consistently out of stock of shit. You can't make money if you don't have the thing. But also, it's a great TTS army, 100%.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's just Exocranes. I don't know. It's just, the thing is that, like, for myself, I'd rather just buy the model. But like, if you don't have the model, I'm going to 3D print it. You know what I mean? It's just, sorry, but like,
yeah, Dorian, I agree. Also, try to get Exocrines, try to get Maleceptors, there have been some units that have been. I don't want to go with infinitely out of stock, but that's the term I'm going to
It
use
is though.
because it just feels like
See,
the
Carmona's got you on this. Brian needs to buy 3D printers for the store. Just
you never know
constantly
that
running.
that may happen at some point in time, Carmo.
It's just, and the thing is I'm not even trying to push for the 3D print because I do like 3D print for a couple things. Like for my arcs, for instance, Sniggs and I were looking for prints for war bosses because some of the war bosses I feel are kind of stale. You know what I mean? And but like if I have to, if I can't get the models I want, I'll just get them 3D printed. I know enough people with that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I just, and it's not like I'm not trying to get the actual models, but like, man, if you don't give me the option to get the model, what am I supposed to do?
I don't. I'm not a huge 3D printer. I'd rather have the actual model. But if I have to wait, and I'd be completely honest with you, I have wanted another Maliceptor for my Tyranid army for almost 2 years now.
Yeah.
And
Good
I have
luck
the
with
click
that.
the email. When the email comes through, I grab it, I go to the website, and some bot has bought them all out, and they're on eBay the next day for $150.
Also, those people can go get hit by a car, set on fire, revived, and then killed again.
Yep.
I cannot stand the scalper people. Let people that enjoy the hobby enjoy the hobby. Quit fucking it up. It's just, you know what the thing is Carmona 100% on that. He goes, my entire army is 3D printed. Nobody can tell. Yeah. I mean, just, it's a big thing on that. And the thing is that if you're forcing people into that, you know what I mean? That's just what's going to happen. You know what I mean? If you don't give me the option of purchasing your thing and I want to play the game, I'm going to do that. I'm going to go to the wall real quick. Because I'm going to go to OnePlus and then one day. He goes, 3D printing is great, supplementary, but I'll tell everyone it costs more than buying GW because of its time. If you can get a box, just get it. Sometimes, yeah, it's just the problem is this shit is just out of stock. That's the problem. It's a big deal in that. So Metamoney's telling about what he actually put in this stuff. He goes, the point I was trying to make is while the faction is not fun, expensive, there is a power there. So straight buffs for them is dangerous, I think. AdMech needs a rewrite with matching points. AdMech needs their codex was a miss. And while I've thought that GW's hit it out of the park with a couple of the codices, and they've done well, I mean, I throw them under the bus all the time, so I have to give them props when props are due, though. The codices have been very, very good for the most part. We've had a couple misses, cough, cough, probably custodes, and AdMech was a miss. It wasn't a huge miss. It just was a not super flavorful, but I don't think AdMech is super flavorful. I mean, it is my least favorite.
I think you give AdMech another detachment rule, and they'll be fine.
Yeah, I think that a couple of their things need to go down in points, though. Like breachers and a couple of walkers and stuff like that. I think that the vehicle portion of their army is probably pretty overcosted. You know what I mean?
Is it that their models are overcosted, or is it some other vehicles and items are just so undercosted it makes their stuff seem overcosted?
A little bit of both. The problem is that they're a hard army to cost because I think that with AdMech, if they get too cheap, they have like infinite damage on the board. But if at the way they are now, they have problems putting out damage and having an army on the board. You can make a horde army of AdMech. It's disgusting. Yeah, I mean, it also costs $1 million.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think
the Phantom Menace should have almost saw that. This is literally from the opening. This has all the release dates, by the way. So this is before it even came out. This is to show you that I'm an old dork.
I will say that, I mean, let's be honest. The books they've missed on so far, it looks like Custodes, looks like AdMech, and Dark Angels, because they rely so much on the Space Marine book, they missed on the Dark Angels portion of the book.
Oh, 100%. They had an opportunity to make that. I wish that the Dark Angels were OP. But again, I look at it from a lore thing because I think that the Lion right now is supposed to be carrying the story. And I really felt that they missed out on giving them a month of being busted and making it super flavorful. You know what I mean? Like a full risen detachment that you have to take the Lion would have been pretty boss mode, to be perfectly honest with you. I would have thought that would be awesome.
I agree completely.
But
with the amount of stuff we have coming out in the next couple weeks, right? So you've got coming this Saturday, you have Orcs and Custodes hitting the table. A little bit shortly after that, you will have the legality of the Tau book finally. we're assuming this Thursday through next Thursday, right? The balance data slate slash Militarum field manual, or however the hell you say it. With the points update, we have a lot coming in 40K to shake the meta up.
100%. Carmona, I'm going to go back to that. I'm going to go back to it a little bit in the show because I want to talk about a couple different things that are meta changing and actual real flyer movement, even though they're hovering, is one of them. Because yes, people do willy-nilly fly over things when they can't. But I think it's a big deal because if you get Tau points, and I'm assuming you're going to have the Orc and Custo points in there. I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't. You know what I mean?
I mean, it would make logical sense to do it. I'm not saying that GW is always logical, but it would make sense for them to go, here's the update. We saved a week's worth of time and put Tau points in there right now.
Yeah. I'm going to go to the wall again here because, Metabody goes, he thinks the Imperial Codex writer was very timid and took the less power memo seriously while the Xenos one said screw it. I don't actually even think that as much. I think that the book has no soul. You know what I mean? Because the Orc book, while powerful, is just full of excitement. And the Tau book is much to the same extent the same. It has good play, but it's also like super flavorful. Both are fun books. You can play the game the way you want to, and it can be played. Custos has none of that joy, man. It felt like someone was chained to a desk with a gun to their head and had to put out a Custodes book. You know what I mean? There's no love. There's no joy. It's just there. You know? You could have AI generated that thing and had more excitement.
I mean, the Custodes book just doesn't feel like the Emperor's Guardians, right? It just doesn't have that.
Yeah, it's just it's also
smash mouth feel.
It's stream the data slate drops at like 100%, brother. Like literally as soon as it goes live, I'll put up a stream. Yeah. The biggest thing about that is they don't have that feel that they're the best of the best. They should be these elusive. I'd rather have them feel, because they are a little bit, people don't know about them. You know what I mean? For the Imperium itself, they should be these mysterious, ridiculously powerful figures that have a lot of their tales told in like shrouded mystery. You know what I mean? And they have none of that. It's just, I don't know. They just missed the mark on it. It just has no juice. I'm very excited when I'm looking at Tau. I'm super excited, obviously, with Orcs. And I get none of that looking at the Custodes. You know what I mean? It's not whether it's powerful or not. It just feels meh.
Yeah, the Custode books feels meh. I agree with you that I think the Orc Codex, even though I'm not a huge Orc player, I do have an Orc army. I sat with Zuber the other night and we sorted all my Orcs to go, all right, what do I have? Which detachment can I play? And I went, oh, I'm really just short like 2 battle wagons to play every detachment, because it felt like I could field all the units that I owned, which was a nice change of pace.
I tell you the truth, Shane's going to get one. He goes, forgeable models are so frustrating in 3D prints you just work with. Like they are, 100%.
They are.
To get, but also a lot of those forge roll pieces are just whack, to be honest with you. I prefer some of the custom models. Shit, I actually remember the first time I saw a Grotesque, I thought it was someone's conversion, because I had never actually seen a real Grot on the board. It had always been, some random 3D print. He's like, no, that's the actual model. I'm like, what? Oh, I didn't even realize people had those. So 18 Grot tanks, yes. 2 ready camps each year. Yeah, it's
one
true.
of the things like Carmona wants to talk about that, and I actually think it's something to talk about, seeing we're just kind of going on the meta here. The movement of Storm Ravens and all flyers, in all honesty, when moving them in hover mode. So, Brad, why don't you just go over the basics of that so people understand?
Here's the thing. One, yes, most of the people are doing it wrong, but they also benefit from rules that shouldn't be. You know what I'm saying? And it's not even rules that shouldn't be. It's the way the model looks. Most flyers are built to be flyers. They're hanging over wings and stuff like that. The problem is that when people are moving their flyers, they're discounting everything about that giant ass model. And when it's in hover, you can't just discount everything on that model. You know what I mean? It just doesn't move that way. And with that being said, it also doesn't shoot that way because you can't just jam things that are flying over pieces of terrain. You know what I mean? Because again, it's a hover. That's his whole on that. You know? So be the judge and tell that. Tell me what's going on with that.
So one of the big problems is people are ignoring that to shoot through the terrain, you have to be wholly within the terrain, right?
Or going all the way to the other side.
Yeah, try putting a Storm Raven in any piece of terrain full.
It's not real. You have to get to the other side. And the thing is that they're also making it a weird rule because they'll put their nose over the piece of terrain, even though you're on that, you know, at the edge. And you're like, shouldn't that be an engagement range? You know what I mean? So it's such a odd ruling, to be perfectly honest with you.
It's one of those things of this model was designed with old rules in play, and we have never, GW's design team has never gotten it to where the flyer makes sense in the game for the rules as they're written.
Yeah.
Which is very difficult. And as you move things around and you're bumping and you're hitting pieces of terrain, I've seen people go, oh, well, I can just move my wing through this third story of a building. I was like, no, you're in hover mode. You have to move around it.
Yep.
You have to be able to maneuver your tank around. Well, I can't move it this way. And I said, well, guess what? Then
you lose about a third or more of your hover distance because you have to make pivots as you go through. And I never see people doing that. They YOLO swag it through. It's just, KR saying it, the flying rule sucks. Yes, it does. And I feel like I've made it perfectly clear over the years how much I fucking hate the fly. Not just the fly keyword as far as, flying, like flyers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So as we call them now,
aircraft. Sorry.
Aircraft inherently for a game that is infantry and tank based don't work well.
No.
Their rules are clunky. They're tough to fit in. You're shoehorning, in a lot of cases, models into a box that they don't fit into.
KR. Realistically, a hovering plane can tip a wing. You know what? Unless you have Maverick as modeled as all of your pilots, you're not allowed to do that. I will also accept Iceman. Either one.
Carmona, that is one of my biggest things. Your model has to be on the table, folks.
Oh, that shit drives me crazy.
Off the table. And I know Brad's seen me do this. I walk around tournaments all the time in my active judging, pushing models onto the table because part of the base is off. And then I have had people go, well, yeah, but now my opponent can see me now. And I'm like, yes, that's because you legally moved as compared to where you were. Yeah. And I will stand there and wait for the game to keep going because I will not let them move it back. And I know that's, some people go, oh, it's kind of dickish. I'm like, no, play the game the right way.
It's a big deal on that. I love Brad.
Stay on the table.
Eldari flyers look pimp. Eldari flyers look pimp because they're spaceships. So they're going to look pimp.
I've seen people, I have started to see people tilt and tip their flyers to move them around GW boards.
Yep.
Like dramatically posing the flight stand and stuff like that.
They look like they're diving.
The model has to fit what it's supposed to look like, what size it's supposed to look like, what footprint it's supposed to look like. Conversions are cool. I love conversions, but you got to fit the footprint.
It's big on that. It's just, and the thing is they are very difficult to move through. And the thing is like, there has to be a happy medium because a lot of times I just let whatever happens to happen. And I get yelled at by people like cough, cough, Tom just screams at me. But like, I don't want to have a stupid argument about rules basics in the middle of my game. I'd rather just drink my wine. So it's difficult because you don't want to be bullied, but also, I don't want to spend 20 minutes, hashing out how to move a model through the board.
I mean, I've seen a lot of longtime players who are not serious tournament players, but enjoy playing the game, but go to events. I've seen with the new fly rule, which is still really wonky and needs to be fixed. I've seen players with crisis suits go, yeah, I jump onto this side of the wall, and I go, no. You have to go up to the top of the building and then measure down. Does that still work for your movement? And people go, what?
Let's be honest.
Your vehicle, you have to do everything.
To be fair, new fly in 10th edition if you're not infantry sucks.
Oh, big giant time.
I mean, it's
just-
literally, I'd rather just not have it because there's so much anti-fly keyword. It's a detriment to you. It's crazy.
And it's one of those things where the fly keyword was so good in the last several editions. Admittedly, it was super
I was
good.
busted.
That they went, all right, so we're going to kick this into the ground and make people play infantry with fly. And that's it.
Yeah, I guess, but
at least that's how it feels to me as someone who plays gargoyles and refuses to put a flying monstrous creature down on the board. That's how I feel.
Carbona, I do. I'll tell someone that they should have read the rule before, and now they can read it on their clock. I mean, I go, Anna. Anna goes, flying. Moving up should cost you, but moving down should be free. Isn't that called crashing? Just make it streets leading height, and the rest is horizontal.
I mean, I'm gonna go back to. Didn't there used to be a rule that when you could jump for free movement off the top of a ruin,
but you had
and
to, you had to roll a dangerous check. You just died on a 1.
Yeah.
But,
and let alone it got worse the farther down it was. I remember if it was like 3 stories and a 1 through 4, you just died.
Yeah, it would depend on how far you jumped.
Yeah.
Those were amazing because you used to be able to go, oh no, I'm about to get assaulted. You just went, everybody jump off the top rope. We're out of here. I miss some of those goofy rules, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I miss some of that flavor in the game. But I understand from a competitive standpoint that sometimes you have to stop,
Yeah, it is. But I mean, it makes for pretty awesome stories. The fact that I tied a game that I was crushing winning because the what's his face? God damn it! What's the big crazy orc gun? Where that Big Mac has it, and he shot himself. Shock attack gun. He shot himself out of the gun, and then by doing that, he now had a model that contested the objective, and then I tied. And I was like, "What just happened?"
From Meta Monday, will Tau be the counter to the Orc Horde and fast melee now that Custodes fall off?
I think Tau is in a great position because Tau's in a great position because they have specifically what you need to counter a very versatile meta, which is they have a very versatile shooting array, basically. They have tons of shots that are all medium to good AP, and they've also got a secret missiles all over the place too. So they've got strength 14 with big damage also. So they've got like a big mix of high strength weapons, high AP weapons, volume of medium strength with decent medium to high AP. So they're 100%.
I agree with Carmona that I think Death Guard are gonna rise up a little bit.
They dominate the melee, and orcs can bounce off those. -2 to hits a bonkersville ability. Their ability to just say that you're I guess it's not technically -2 to hit. It's -1 to your weapon skill, and then -1 because you're going to have Nurglings within 6. And especially because the melee orc armies, for instance, don't have Dirty Bad Rook and the boys backing them up anymore. So if you're playing Bully Boys, you're playing the Dread Hunt, or not Dread Mob, but the Hunt, the Big Hunt, and if you're playing just regular Warhorde, you don't have as much of the ability to churn away those random nonsense things. I mean, obviously, if you're playing Speed Freaks or if you're playing the Dreadhorde, you're going to have that amount of shots, but that's a different game. You know what I mean? But like in combat,
I think it's going to be interesting because I think some of the blast weapons that were like okay and weren't quite making the table now are going to be like, oh yeah, I need a few of those in my army. You're going to see a little bit of a return of a few things. I actually think the current Imperial Guard build with all the Karsican, with all the Bulgrin, and the indirect fire are going to see a tick up the board with orcs as well.
I think orcs I think Tau, I can't even go anywhere. I think IG is a fantastic army, and it's especially a fantastic army in teams. Mm-hmm. So we've got a lot of team events coming up also. Excuse me. Oh, Wild Dick's coming in with a $2 super chat. 140 crude are orcs natural predators. I mean, I think it may be the other way around, but either way.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting to see.
I mean, I think the Tau just have, in all their detachments, to be honest with you, have the ability to get in the way. Because, to tell you the truth, the 140 Kroot aren't the Orcs' natural predator. The 140 Kroot that are in front of the Orcs while the 1,000 points of Tau are shooting them is going to be more their natural predator. Like, yeah, we killed the 140 Kroot. You're like, yeah, but what happened while we were doing that? The dudes over there shot at us a lot. Now we're limping into their backfield, hopefully.
I think like OnePlus says, you're going to see more frag storms on things as compared to just storm bolters.
Yeah, because of the blast. It's a big deal on that. If you get Night Spinners might be due. I mean, Night Spinners are still good. I mean, no matter what they had to change the mechanic before anything. Dorian Gladiator Reapers have always been good. I really like the vehicle quite a bit. Just because dev wounds and rerolls is a real thing. It's bonkersville. GK Purifiers and Crow coming back? Possibly. I mean, I think the Purifiers are already legit. Being able to shoot flamers around buildings is also a good thing. So, yeah, it's, can be pretty nasty.
It's going to be interesting to see where the rest of the meta lands out, because I think there's a lot of answers to Horde that may not be answers to the things that are also there. I think Death Guard's in a good spot. I actually think Marines can be in a good spot based upon
Templar's in a fantastic spot.
Yeah.
Blood Angels are finally in a good spot. The problem with Blood Angels, I think, is going to be the fact that they're an X and 1 army, because they smash the things they smash, and their hard matchups are fucking hard. You know what I mean?
Yep.
If you can't play the model correctly, play with a different model. Yeah. I mean, there's certain things that I would love to play. I mean, hell, we talked about it. It's a joke on it, but like the Toxic Cream has bonkers good stats.
Yeah,
in Marine.
You just can't move around.
Yeah, it's just it's an unplayable model.
its wingspan is like 12 inches.
Yeah, it's just crazy. It's just straight out, just crazy. So, Blitz are still keeping me relevant. Blitz do pew pew.
Yeah, they do pew pew.
Free hugs from bugs.
I mean, the Tyranids are in a weird spot, although they did have an army do well at a 256 player super major that actually had 2 Trigons in it. So that was.
I don't believe that, by the way. I feel somebody was like literally just playing a prank on me because they knew I would read that.
Did you see the list?
I looked at it and I immediately killed it because it looked like something I would bring as a flex to a tournament.
I completely agree with you, but Jonathan Partridge at the 250 some player event this weekend took an invasion fleet list with a Tyrant, 10 Gargoyles, 2 units of Termagants with a Strangleweb, a small unit of Gene Stealers, 2 Lictors, a Pyrovore, Exocrine, Maleceptor, and then, oh look, shocker, Trigon.
Yeah. It's just, he threw that. Also, the English tournaments blow my mind because they cut to a top 8, and they had 10 undefeateds when they stopped playing games. It's just, they play so different in that meta. It's so crazy.
With the UKTC terrain too, it's definitely
open,
a little bit different of a game, different shooting angles.
Those guys just go for it, though. You know what I mean? There's just no playing it safe. You're like, I need to get 100 or I won't qualify because we cut to a top 8 after 2 games. It's like so crazy.
Yep. But again, it's fun. As someone who likes playing in different tournaments and different terrain, like, it's a good time.
Dude.
I remember.
Sorry, Hannah's on that, and it is if you haven't played against it. Anna goes, Hilly had a brain draining din army in Dayton. He got to move a unit whenever you took a drink or sat down or thought about lunch. So many reactive moves. Shock attack good. French Guardian play that made Storm Guardian. No one is making Storm Guardians cool. They are not cool.
He did win an event while using Storm Guardians.
I know, but they were still bad. I refuse. You can win with a couple trash units in your army. I do it all the time.
Meta Monday, I do think that GSC are going to come back around a little bit.
I want to see what they do in points.
Yep.
I think if they did bring GSC points down, that army's going to be bonkersville. I actually think it's going to have a great spot. If nothing at all happens to GSC, I think that they will have a great spot in the upcoming meta because they play better against armies that are coming out than they do against the things that were out before that. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, and one of their boogeymen there is currently not there. Custodes is just not there.
Custodes just auto win against them. So yes, so it's a big thing on that. Like, you can't even say that though. They shouldn't because you can spread the board out against them.
Yeah, but Custodes did do very, very well against GSC. It was a consistent, better than
but people don't run away and hide like I do. When your battle cry is not in the face, you can run away and fight another day.
Mm-hmm.
I think of them as Skaven, to be honest with you. Evening.
And as always, like and subscribe to our cast. Helps out the metrics, helps get us more eyes and more views. So please like and subscribe to Death or Glory.
Thank you, random citizen. So, but we get a lot of stuff coming out. I'm super excited for because I was looking at the Sunday preview. We're getting all the Tau stuff out. We're getting the points. When are the books going to be in everybody's hand for all three books?
Orcs and Custodes will be in everybody's hand Saturday. The official release date for Tau is 2 weeks from Saturday, even though the Tau book's been out for almost a month plus now.
I think it's so bonkersville. I mean, it has to be logistics and stuff, but I think it's so weird to give somebody their book and then go, well, you can't use this quite yet.
I think part of it was they just didn't have all those units individually boxed up and ready to go yet, because all that's coming out new for them next week is all crew. It's with the exception of repackaging some stuff into a start collecting box or combat patrol. Pardon me. It's all new crew stuff, which is great. But all that new crew stuff has been available. If you have any kind of savvy, you've been on eBay, and people have broken apart those boxes, and you can pick up everything that you wanted.
Yeah. I'm excited for the thing. You know what I'd like? Well, already Tom wants my Stompa. I want to buy 2 of the Orc boxes, but I don't want a Stompa. So I need somebody to buy a second Stompa. Because I want carry the 1, 0 Stompas. Sorry, it's not my cup of tea.
I mean, if it's more than 25 points, Brad's not interested.
Pretty much.
Yeah, okay.
I've made my Bully Boys list, and it still has so much random trash in it still.
So how have you been using the points out of the book?
I've been using the points just as they are, because I can't do anything else right now. Because the points in the book have been used by absolutely 0 codex or armies that have come out. Yeah. Like they might as well not even be there. They haven't even been close to the releases.
I like Time Clock's theory of what to do with your Stompa.
A wide helmet for you? I do like that quite a bit. Yeah, Brad is what, an 800-point model? I'm confused. Yeah, I think burns my skin when I touch it. I
think if they brought that thing out and it was like 500 points, it might see a table. I'm not going to say it's going to be a top tier model by any, but it might see a table.
I wasn't even playing Big Knights and stuff when they were broken. It's just like still too much. I was like, oh.
The Orcs will have a broken list week 1 that people will not be ready for. I think that's the problem.
I don't think
it's gonna be initially broke. I don't think it's gonna be like, oh my god, this is so crazy, I could never beat it. It's gonna be, ooh, I wasn't prepared for that.
Yeah, some of the mechanics are gonna be big. You're also like things like the Dread Mob and Speed Freaks can high roll you, but they're also orc shooting. So sometimes they're gonna have turns where they just do nothing and they just gonna stand there and go, well, that was awkward. The army I'm probably gonna bring right away is Bully Boys. Just because I'm thinking of it in a team tournament aspect, and I want to go after certain things that it picks apart and get big differentials. Because I think that you can really push somebody with 2 turns of WOG into the corner. Oh, Lyle Dixon with $5 super chat. Next team event: 2 Storm Surges, 2 Gargantua Squigas, 2 Astraeus, and a Scatch. 3 Tantalus. I agree this is Brad's captain. Not only did you take only giant models, but you also took several of the models I don't like. I hate Tantaluses so much.
Oh, they're so hard to move.
So they were also, back in the day, they were 18 wood models, so you could see them behind obscuring terrain, and they have a stupid sail that's like 12 inches tall.
12 foot tall. Yeah.
You can always see it. So pissed me off so much. That was the year that I bet Nick that he couldn't win 3 games with it. Ugh.
And he crushed it.
No, he did not crush it. He got exactly what he needed, and I still don't believe that Quentin didn't throw that game to him. It was Tau versus Tantalus. And I'm like, Quentin, how are you losing? It's not even a real thing. Props to Nick on that. No idea how he made it through with all that.
I don't know. If you get your opponent drunk enough, sometimes things happen.
That's true. You can do whatever you want. I've proven it before. Yes, Lyle, they'll have 1,000 points of trash, which makes me happy.
Hey, it's going to be interesting to see where things shake out. I think that, in all honesty, I think the meta's in a pretty good spot. Yes, there are a few things that are a little too weak, but hopefully they bring those things up instead of bringing stuff down. Because I don't think there's a whole lot to bring down. There's a few minor, and I mean minor tweaks to bring down, as we covered on Thursday.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But the thing is that, again, touch the things that are not getting played and push their points down, and or give them rules, either or, don't care which. Stop nerfing things as much. You know what I mean? I would rather have light dustings and play your models. I just don't like seeing people not be able to play it. I still think that they did the original Custodes blow through was bad. The original Knights blow through was bad. You know, they just rock some armies. So Grot Supremacy. I am wondering exactly how that army's going to do, to be honest with you. So the Dread Mob feels like something that's going to do well in the beginning and then kind of get smoked. It also depends on whether Grot tanks go into Legends like KR was talking about.
And are they even available on I was just looking up to see if they were available on GW's website, and I don't see them anywhere. Like, I have a feeling you might see those hit the Legends category.
I'm going to go to the wall again, because we're talking about some of those same things. Sold up. They are still on the site. Are Tetras still, can you buy them? I know they've been out of sold out forever, but they can actually buy them.
Yeah, you can still, they are still available for purchase.
Yeah.
I just didn't.
So, like, the things that I'm looking at, like, Carmona goes, what kind of units models that are vastly undercosted? He puts Woofin. I don't think Woofin are vastly undercosted at all, because they're OC 0. And that means like a big deal, because they can just smash you. They don't take anything from you, though. So unless they do something to give them OC, that the unit's fine where it is, to be honest with you. Because it's a fire and forget type of thing. It doesn't really give you board momentum. Well. So, but yeah, I hate when they legend shit, period, though.
Agreed.
I would. The thing is that the only thing that I really want Legends, if they're trying to put out more powerful stuff that can be comboed with that Legends things, I get that, but you have to put some stuff out that's gonna show me what you're talking about.
Grot tanks are still on the website. They are just out of stock.
Let's see. Time Lock, $10 super chat. Thank you so much. What is the dollar amount or wine amount that gets Brad to play a list with 3 super heavies? Because I got 2 Baneblade chassis and a Marauder Destroyer you can borrow. Oh, man.
I don't know. So you said guard to start with, so that made it really hard.
Yeah, I already don't like guard. Fuck. I don't know, man. I'd like to play like 3 Primarchs, like Demon Primarchs, but I can't even do that anymore.
Nope.
Woofin. But Woofin are cheaper than Berserkers, but the OC 0. And they have meh weapons. So I don't know. You know what? I would bring it to an RTT in a second. If somebody would bring me big shit and some wine, I would slam it down at an RTT for sure. But I kind of will bring anything at an RTT if somebody bring it for me. I'm pretty easy on that. That's the reason when I come out to Brian's, I go, if I don't want to bring an army, what are you going to make me play? And then I got the response of, it depends how bad you are. I get punished for my behavior.
Pretty much. I mean, like when you come out this year, I assume we're gonna have to put orcs in your hand, just for the fun of it. But
Mike's already got this $20 and a ham sandwich and Brad runs Gork Mork and the stomp on a list. Whew. I kind of really, as soon as I get the drinking, I really like saying the words Gorkanaut and Morkanaut. If I bring the Gorkanaut, the Morkanaut, and Max Bubble Chuckas, now that is an army I would like to talk about on stream.
that's a lot of bubble chuck.
Yes. I did bring those to Nova. The people ask me that, Brad, why'd you bring the Bubble Chuck to Nova? I'm like, because I just like saying Bubble Chuck and I wanted to do it on stream. Like, what? I go, sometimes I make stupid moves because they make me laugh, and I'm a child. Exactly. Bubble Chuckas.
Oh yeah, Wolfen are a little too cheap when you start seeing 30 in every unit, in every army.
I love it. I know what you're playing at Valkyrie next time. See you in May, Brad. God damn it.
World leaders become significantly stronger with custodes currently out of the meta as it stands.
Yeah,
world leaders get better.
Yeah, well, they were already fine. They were already fine. I think just a lot of people bounced off them. That's still a nasty army. I mean,
they're a good army. They're not a huge model count. They're fairly easy to paint. You see them all the time.
They also can pick up hordes. They have shit tons of attacks.
Yep.
Like, you can multi-assault things and just put like a bonkers amount of dead orcs, dead Tau, dead whatever. You know what I mean? They're really good at that.
Yeah, you just have to, with that World Leaders army, you have to push them back. You have to counter their scout moves. There's things you go. There's ways around it, but yeah, it's a really solid army.
Every Space Wolf list has 30 wolf. Yeah, I don't think that they're too expensive though, because that Space Wolf list before was just slowly starting to grind its way to playability. You know what I mean? It's a decent list. I think it's a good list. I just don't think that I think that if you start hitting some stuff on a list that's so one-dimensional, that you're going to have problems, though. Yeah, I mean,
Sonic, if they go to 240 points for Norns, I'm going to be extremely happy.
I mean, what do you have to put the big creatures at to make them more playable, though? So hold on one second. Lyle Dixon with $2 super chat. The World Leaders guys told us the teams they're afraid of BA. Yes, they are. I mean, BA hand-to-hand has been like wildly underrated for a while now. It's just the fight on. If you have 4 CP, you effectively just go, I win melee armies. You know what I mean? Because you fight on death one, you interrupt one, and then you just blow up their army, and you trade up all the time. Corn cares not.
So for what do they got to do for Tyranids? They got to bring the Norn Assimilator, the one without the invul save, to be cheaper than the Norn Emissary, who has an invul save, number one. He's got to be almost in the 200, if not 185-ish range to make him even think about hitting the table. They've got to bring the Moloch down 10 points. They got to bring the Trigon down at least 40 points to make them playable. They've got to bring the Psychophage down on sub 100.
It doesn't even cut. He's not even a real person. That dude's been in Witsec for a while.
Oh yeah, since he came out, he's just been like, "Oh, I came out! Yay, I'm over here." Somebody convert to something.
It bugs me because I used to play the big guy army for a while back in the day, and I want to play, Crusher Stampede stuff. I don't know. They used to have all the Dawn of War videos when they had Carnifexes just like throwing rhinos and shit at people. Like that was awesome.
Hey, look, I remember when the Carnifex used to be strength 10, so.
Yeah, with his tail attack too. Oh, yeah.
There was all kinds of stuff. I mean, the Tyranids don't need a ton to make them more competitive. In all honesty, they just need some of their big bugs to come down in points. And to be honest with you, their HQs, for the most part, in particular the Hive Tyrant on foot, the Winged Hive Tyrant need to drop immensely in points, and the Turvagon needs to come down a good chunk.
I agree on that. I still think it's the army that should be winning in a higher percentage than it is. That's just my opinion on that. It just has the
It has a lot of rules. You have to remember every interaction.
Yeah.
And it's the army that I think is the most enjoyable to play is the Unending Swarm, because you can just grind games out all day long. It's also, after 3 rounds, you're exhausted and you want to go home and take a nap. So
Yeah,
it's one of those.
it's funny because like the best armies I've made and everything have been horde armies, and I'm just like, I should play that. And then I think to myself, I think like 33% of my tournaments that I go to, I can't finish in the first place, let alone me taking a horde army.
Yeah.
Monica, the thing is I believe it that they're 40%, but I do think they have the tools to win. Like, for instance, Ibani's a good player. He took Tyranids over the weekend or last week, whatever week, time's meaning this to me, whatever we were in Dayton, and he was crushing all weekend long. You know what I mean? I thought like you were killing it with the army. It has the tools. I just think that it has a low floor and a high ceiling. You know what I mean? So
the problem is with the Tyranid army right now, if you make one big mistake, if you make a mistake, unbelievably hard to recover from. If you forget one of their multiple movement rules, it's hard to recover from. And every once in a while, you just meet something that is just an immensely hard counter for whichever one of the army.
I'll give you that. I'll give a bit of money on the side here. It really feels they're missing something. Nid seal out of play, but one event win in 12 weeks. You know what? I'll give you that, because when I look at Nids, I think to myself, I always make a slightly better version of what I want to do in Nids in another army. It's not terrible. It's just probably just slightly better. 150 more points. I agree on that, to be honest with you. Yeah. If you cut their points down, especially, I think that comes from the big guys, though. I think that when you put your big guys in your army, you're always playing down points.
The Exocrine, and I actually think the Maleceptor is still a little bit over point costed, but he's the best point costed option there. The Hive Tyrant at 235 points for a foot Hive Tyrant who has not a ton of movement, not a ton of close combat attacks, not a lot of shooting, just a free battle tactic is just way over point costed. Absolutely way over point costed.
Yeah.
When he's the same points as a Satan and he does, I don't know, a third of the work of one, it just seems silly.
Yeah, two things. Anna says, Horde K is the era we're coming into. Peyton Celestine. Never thought I would love a world where Carnifexes would rhinos on a 4. Yeah, that's crazy. Carnifexes should be using the rhino like Hulk style, making 2 shields out of it. And moving on. It was
the Tyranid Codex covers with Carnifexes beating up rhinos.
Yes, they were using them as weapons as they moved on. Things that are big should be able to, again, it's tough to point all these things, you know what I mean? Because big things, especially 4-Upville, can be such a weird life, you know? It's just one of those things where sometimes it feels like you're invincible and other times it feels like you're instantly dead. That's what 4-Up life is all about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just come to the dark side. Just run a bunch of orcs. Yes. Rhino matches. I love everything about that. Carnifex should be holding rhino matches like wrestlers using chairs and ladders. Hell yeah. I can get behind that 100%.
And if someone could tell me why a Trigon and a Moloch don't have, granted the towering keyword's not all that great, but didn't have towering when they're as tall as a knight.
Oh, whatever. I mean, shit with that. What about tank shock for monsters? What the fuck?
Yeah, please. I've got to assume when all the codexes are out and they start dropping those, crusade style books with additional rules in for match play, we'll start seeing some of that stuff come around.
Yeah. I want to see some stuff. I mean, I'm excited, right? I'm just excited. I'm excited to put my arcs on the board. I'm excited to make new Tau armies because I think that they have kind of a ton of builds that can be manipulated with. And I think that army is going to be nuts. And the thing is I love the fact that every orc army seems to be vastly different. And that makes me happy too.
So, Brad, if right now you had a new Tau player come up to you and go, hey, I got X amount of dollars, what units should I be investing in if I don't already own them?
Skyrays, stealth teams, Farsight because he's awesome. Even if you don't put them in your army, you should still own one. You need 2 breacher fish. They're so good. And they're so good in several armies. And then buy that Crute box because it comes with a lot of value.
Absolutely. I agree with that one completely. I've been telling everybody, like, you need devil fishes, you need breachers. Don't ignore them. They are very good.
Anything.
And Carmona's throwing broadsides in there as well. Which one, Carmona? Which one do you think they need?
All they can do, you have to magnetize them, bro. They're so good because I think that if you bring, this is my final, I said this to Lyle the other day. If you're playing Monka and you've got all the lethal hits and the rerolls, you take missile sides. If you're playing Kayan and you're looking for explosions, you take the railguns. And because I'm going to put 2 missile drones on either one of them anyways and just go nuts on things.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see. I want to see where all the points shake out for all those new books. I think that's the thing that we're in a holding pattern.
Sorry, I just love Corey on this. Brad would tell him he doesn't need models and talk him into 3 months of drunken coaching sessions. Bradley goes to name the host. It is, but the thing is Hunter, the Tau Codex has never been more internally balanced. Well, we obviously have to wait to see the exact points, but right now there's multiple units, and you're supposed to be playing a combined arms type army. It's just that army's good, and it plays more like the fluff than they've ever played. I really believe that because you have multiple things working together. That's the whole way they wanted to do with guide and everything else, was making that army work.
The next guy comes to you and goes, hey, I want to play Speed Freaks. That detachment just looks fun to me. It's what I want to play. What unit should I invest in?
Weirdly enough, you need a war boss and you need a knob so you can put the enhancement to be truck boys, because that shit's nuts. 19-inch move without a wog. Oh, Def Killer Wartrike, a unit of bikes, and then whatever buggy and Def Coptas make your heart happy. Buy those because, man, that is going to be a list that can play for days. Being able to advance and shoot, being able to fall back and shoot, and then having a couple units that can just get into your opponent right away. Think about playing board corners and a truck boy unit, just assault you turn 1. What are you doing about that? Nothing. You're getting jammed into the corner. Round 2, they call the WOG, and then that unit of bikes led by the Def Killer Wartrike auto advance 18, and then WOG, WOG densely charge you. You know what I mean? You can really jam somebody in their corner, and then you're bouncing around. You're doing your teleporties and stuff like that. It's a big deal. Megatrack, shock jumps. Shock jump dragster is legit now in this, but because of the
Anna, that was a good call on that one.
I mean, 100%. The Speed Freaks look super fun, but they look like an army that can really be the buggies that you want. You know what I mean? Obviously, it's going to come down to points because we're going to go for the most efficient, points per attack type buggies that we want. But I think that you're going to have a lot of Speed Freaks armies with a couple, common things and a lot of different ideas about what they like to play. And it's going to work because it's going to be all about spacing with that army. Yeah, you're going to be holding people in, playing the board. That army is not just about just murder shitting your opponent. It's about playing the board, pinning people in, using your speed to outmove everybody. 100%.
And by the way, Brad, I KR is calling you out for this, but I'm actually going to call you out as well. Nice job painting up 10 more orcs. I saw them posted to Facebook.
And those are 10 knobs. Thank you very much.
10 knobs. Oh, 10 knobs. Let me get this correct. Good job. Nice to see you painting an army for the first time ever.
Hey, I'm 22 orcs in.
There you go.
Almost done. My goal is to have it done by the end of the summer. I don't really have a hard goal or anything because I want to keep it super fun. I just want to keep it on painting to paint. And those actually turned out the best of the ones I've done so far.
Carmona, the stuff that I see getting increased right now, to be honest with you, is Satans.
Yeah.
I see Satans getting hit. I think the Technomancer is also going to get hit in Necrons just for a preliminary kick in the pants.
But they hit characters all the time with shit.
Yep.
So yeah.
And I think Storm Ravens are going to get a larger point cost than we expect.
Which is semi-sad. If they were played correctly, I think they're fine.
Yep, but I just think they're going to get a. I think they're going to get a point cost increase, and I would assume the only other marine thing that you see go up is probably going to be for in Dark Angels is going to be the shroud. I think that's going to go up.
Custodes go up 20% because Tacoma 2023. All points are based on that event for the end of time. It doesn't matter. That is awesome. I hope that we don't have very many things that go up in points, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't.
I actually hope they roll back some of the nerfs that they've done. I'd love to see them roll back some of the Chaos Space Marine point increases they did, just to bring them back in line a little bit better.
I don't think Knights need to have all their stuff rolled back. Just let it go.
Yeah, but I think if you say they need to roll back everything, then you got to roll back Towering.
No, not Towering. Towering dies. Towering stays dead. I will Vampire Hunter that. I will murder Towering again and again, as much as I have to.
To be honest with you, you know what else needs to go down in points? And it's really because they nerfed it so many times that it's now not playable. Yeah, the Wraith Knight.
Oh, God. He's terrible now.
It's so bad.
You can play like the Staff Hatch, that's about it. With all the Meltas. Brian channeling Crawley there. God, I should message him right now. Screw you. He told me for so long that Towering was fine. I would have punched him.
Yeah, and then at Salt City, the first 10th edition, GT, he goes, "I'm gonna Towering you," and you go, "Screw you."
Yeah.
I'm going to the bar.
The best is still after. We should run that back because I want to see what happened if you went first. All right, I think you might be right, Brad. It's like table his entire army in one turn. Yeah, this is a stupid rule, man. Just blah. That's all I have to say about the war in Vietnam.
All right, so plug that lorecast, Brad.
40klorecast.com. Show up at the Discord. It is fantastic. Of course, like and subscribe. Leave a pleasant comment. I read them all the time. I get sad when people talk shit about me. When's the Salt City GT happening, my friend?
So, Salt City, August 9th, 10th, and 11th in Syracuse, New York, thesaltcitygt.com.
God damn it. Down on Super Chat probability. Not so fast, my friend. Go blue.
And of course, the other thing I really want to plug is this weekend, look for the live stream for Battle for Salvation. They have their 8-man team event this weekend. I'm judging there. Zuber's judging there. If you're in the area in West Nyack, New York, stop by, say hi. We will gladly be there. There'll be a ton of people there playing. It's a good event. BFS has always run good events. Stop by and say hello.
All of the things, some of the stuff. And on that note, my friends, stay milky. Queenswave.